Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Leal in this incarnation, and today I only wanted to do a reflection about union and neutrality in chaos. And the chaos is something we are already experimenting with the climatic change and all the. Well, I already told you that the planetary process has to do with this, that we are the generation of the end of the times. That this doesn't mean that this is the end of the world, but is the end of a paradigm, and the earth is an living entity, so all the emotions the humanity have in a global scale are reflected by the earth. I mean, all the fires we've been experimenting, earthquakes, floods, everything that the earth is showing us are part of our own emotions, and that's why those things are happening. Far more the conspiracy theories. Maybe some things are provoked by the human, but actually the earth is showing us everything. Outside is showing us a projection of our inner side. So it's important to know that neutrality is not feel. It's not about we don't have to feel. It's about to understand our feelings, and that the feelings are a guide not to act, are a guide to understand. So when we are feeling something like anger or sadness or whatever, the thing is we have to find the root of that many times could be a thought, many times could be a situation, many times but feelings most of the time are depending on the thoughts we are having. So when we identify that, we can change it. Of course, we can transform those emotions, and of course that sadness, I mean crying or scream to a pillow when we are angry, it's okay too, it's valid, but I'm not saying that emotions are a guide for us to act, because we cannot act in a maturity way when we are very, very angry and we are not thinking what we are doing. Of course, that could happen, and and we are human, but that's not the best way to approach anything, actually. So we have to practice. If we have this tendency, we have to practice to breathe, to do something before we are going to act. For example, it happened to me that many times people said horrible things in the comments. Many other people said beautiful things, but many times, there were these comments that were very hurtful, and of course they were inviting me to see my own wound, and many others, they didn't provoke me nothing, because I saw really that was coming from that those were coming from people that were acting like children, children that weren't seen. But what's important is that many times we have to ask ourselves, for example, if we want to respond, or if we want to act in defense, we want to defend ourselves. I think we have to ask if we are dealing with a person, for example, that is able to hear, or if that action is going to be worth, even if we are acting in a lovely way. Many times we are losing our energy trying to explain to somebody we don't know that he or she is misunderstanding the things, because that person is not open to receive new visions or new ideas or to understand us, and we know deep down, you know. So I think that many times we have to put the priority in our inner peace and not, to have the reason and try to making people to understand, and trying to make people understand. So union inside and neutrality, I think it has to do with these things, with going through these emotions while a lot of things are happening in the world, and trying to deal with them only in this present moment, because if we are thinking too much about the future, we can get anxious, you know. So trying to deal with those emotions, to feel them, to finding the root of them, and then keep going. Just keep going and liberate. How I said, if we need to cry, we cry. We do whatever we need to, in order to not act from an egoistical way, even with ourselves. Because if, for example, we are responding to a message, or we are putting our attention or energy in people that don't worth it, we are treating ourselves in a way that's not good, you know. We are being egoistical with ourselves. So let's identify this, and of course we can be open to debate with other people, because not every time that someone is not in agreement, it means that they are attacking us, of course. But we're going to identify this, and of course what's more important is not to do that with other people. I mean, if we are going to express disagreement, it has to be, I mean, with the feeling, or with the will of have a dialogue with other people. Because if we are only doing to attack or to impose my truth, then I am acting from an egoistical desire. I am saying this because the world is so shaken these days that maybe we could be dealing with people's reactions or our own reaction. And again, this is not about not feeling. On the contrary, I think we have to feel, we have to go through those emotions, but do not project them and try not project them. And it's very usual that when we are in the spiritual path, we try to do things correctly. We want to do the things right. We want to be in the right path, in the right way, and maybe we lose compassion of ourselves many times. We are very hard with ourselves, and the compassion is very important, because we cannot pretend that people treat us that way if we can't feel, if we can't be compassionate with us. So I am saying this because this is a very, very important part of the spiritual path. Compassion with us and with others, but we cannot give anything to the outside that we cannot practice with ourselves. So I think this is the most important part, and that compassion is many times is something that it's a real challenge. So that's why we have to practice that. And with compassion, I'm not saying we don't have to have healthy boundaries, and that we have to tolerate everything. It's not about that. Of course not. I already did videos talking about the healthy boundaries. I already talked about the disconnected ego. You can see those videos in this YouTube channel. So I was only trying to express that neutrality has to do with this thing of going through all our processes without projecting on other people. And of course, because we are humans, maybe we are not able to do this all the time, and that's when we have to have compassion of ourselves. But this is a practice, like everything else, and as much as we practice, as more fluid things will come. And I think this is the light that we have to use to guide us in all this process, and everything is going to align. If we try to align when it is most difficult for us, miracles happen. I already said this. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to end the video here. See you tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.